Taryn, the
Yes.
next thing to move on to is, which is perhaps one of the what people perhaps find a little bit prohibitive when it comes to engaging with showing, is the tack that is required for all of the different classes. So I'd like us to just briefly discuss what the correct turnout would be for your working horses, then your hunters, show riding, show hack, and then what concessions are made for newcomers.
So I can understand how it would be very daunting coming into showing and not being familiar with the dress code. But what I can say is that if you are starting showing and you're going into newcomers, we are very forgiving for tack not being 100% correct, or your jackets not being 100% the right color. So don't let that stop you from giving it a bash. A lot of the stuff you learn as you go along. So for our graded classes, you can ride in either a GP, a jumping, or a dressage saddle.
Okay.
Preferably, we would love to see you in a showing saddle, but those aren't sold in South Africa anymore. So if you can get one from overseas, or if you have access to one, wonderful. Otherwise, whatever you have at home that fits your horse well, you can use that. It is allowed.
What is different about a showing saddle, if you don't mind quickly telling everyone, Taryn?
So a showing saddle is not padded up. It's a very flat saddle, and it's a very plain saddle, which really doesn't take any focus off your horse or its conformation. So it sits behind the shoulder. It's very flat. It doesn't pad up your leg, putting you in any position which could hide anything. And it really is just a very non-discreet saddle. I have ridden in one a few times. They are not the most comfortable saddles all the time, but they do look beautiful, and it really does complement the picture. But like I said, that very few people in South Africa are lucky enough to own showing saddles, and so that's really not a reason not to show. We are very accepting of dressage saddles, GP saddles, and jumping saddles. A lot of judges would prefer a GP saddle over a dressage saddle, just because a dressage saddle puts you in a little bit of a straight leg and a bit of a dressage position, if you like, where your GP and your jumping give you a bit of a softer physique, more like the showing saddle. But that really is, it depends on your judge. Then when it comes to bridles, it depends on the showing classes, or the working classes. Our working classes now, we've had a recent rule change where you are allowed to, for your working hunter, you can use anything that is legal in the show jumping. Which means bits. You can use your grackle nose bands. You can use a crank. Anything that is allowed in the show jumping is allowed in our working hunter. That said, no bright colors. So again, we want the emphasis to be on the horse. So boots must be of a conservative color. Your tack, rather without the orange bomber bits. Cheek pieces, if everything is plain, it's preferred. And then your numnahs, never a square numnah for showing. Even under the show jumping rules, we always expect you to have either a shaped numnah or just a sheepskin underneath, a bartle. Bits, very simple. You're allowed snaffles for your novice classes and pelhams. If you are junior or an adult, you must have double reins. Children ride with pelhams with the rein connector. And then in open level, you are allowed a double bridle. And I feel that a double bridle always finishes the look quite well.
Looks beautiful.
And I kind of expect my open horses to be able to be ridden in a double bridle. But having said that, you are still allowed to use a pelham or a snaffle in open. So it depends on the horse. And then again, in your working classes, whatever bit is legal in the show jumping is legal in your working classes.